Sony is back with Columbia Classics 4K Volume 4 to celebrate Columbia Pictures' 100th anniversary, so let's dive into it. I was able to get an early look at this 4K box set here from Columbia and Sony, thanks to the team at Sony Pictures. I'm going to give you a quick unboxing here, talk about what's in this package, each of the movies that's included, and kind of give my recommendation on whether or not this one's worth picking up for everybody, collectors, hardcore film enthusiasts, but just a fun video to go through this amazing package. So to kick things off, just a look at the exterior package. They've been using a different color for each series. This time they went with green, so the package is green, front and back, very much the same type of packaging that you've come to expect from the other Columbia Classics. It's a hardcover box and it folds out magnetically in the middle like this. The set also includes an amazing booklet. It has essays on every single one of the 6 films in this set with really high quality behind the scenes photographs and stills from the movies. So a really nice companion piece that they add in with every Columbia Classics, the hardcover book, and that inserts right here into the back of the box. So easy storage. Nothing to worry about there, sits all in your box set. In typical Columbia Classics fashion, each of the 6 films has its own packaging with its own slipcover. So I really like that they do that. It keeps everything safe, no disc trays, nothing like that. Keeps everything safe, secure, and it's really high quality. Now, per usual, there's 6 films in this set, all from that Columbia catalog. This time we've got His Girl Friday, Guess Who's Coming to Dinner, Kramer vs. Kramer, Starman, Sleepless in Seattle, and Punch Drunk Love, all making their 4K Ultra HD debuts. In addition to all 6 movies on 4K UHD, you also do get a digital code for all 6 of them, which I did redeem and confirmed will give you 4K digital copies on Vudu. So if we think about this set compared to the others in the series, because we've had now 4 volumes of Columbia Classics, this one is a bit of a deeper dive. It doesn't really have that high-level marquee premiere title that maybe some of the other sets have had, especially set 1 and set 2. For example, the first volume had Dr. Strangelove. It also had Lawrence of Arabia. It had Gandhi. It had Jerry Maguire. Very big-name movies. Volume 2 had Anatomy of a Murder. It had Taxi Driver. It had Social Network. Again, pretty marquee titles mixed in with other great classics from the Columbia catalog. Volume 3, some people were kind of iffy on. I think it's pretty good. It Happened One Night, From Here to Eternity. You had Annie, The Last Picture Show, as good as it gets, but again, getting a little bit deeper, and that's where Volume 4 kind of continues to dive deeper into the catalog, where maybe you've heard of these movies, but they're not necessarily at the level of a Taxi Driver, Lawrence of Arabia, or Social Network, but they're still great films. So for Volume 4, maybe you don't have that premier key title, although there is a Best Picture winner in here with Kramer vs. Kramer. But I think this is a really cool deeper dive into the catalog, and I love the direction that this is taking because, there's only so many movies, but I love that even some of these that maybe aren't at that level of Lawrence Arabia, we're getting a really nice restoration and great treatment here from Columbia and Sony. So let's just take a look at each film, talk briefly about them. First is His Girl Friday. Here's the slipcover. It's got all the quotes on the back, which we love, and then on the interior you have that original artwork. It also, all of these, I should say, are loaded with special features. Like they have all the legacy features, they have commentaries, they have documentaries, behind the scenes stuff. Now, His Girl Friday, I don't know much about, to be honest. Before I saw this set, I did not know this movie. So while I don't know much about the film, I'd love to hear more about it from you guys in the comments. This is the one I'm probably most excited about checking out because whenever there's something I never heard of, just period, I didn't even know this movie existed, I want to dive in, I want to learn more about it, I want to know what it's all about. It's got Cary Grant, it's a Howard Hawks movie, I have high hopes for it. Then of course we've got Guess Who's Coming to Dinner. Artwork here, quote on the back. Popping this open, here's that original theatrical artwork. This was nominated for a ton of awards. Katharine Hepburn won for Best Actress, but I think this movie is super important in film history because it was really like one of the first interracial relationships shown on screen. And in the 60s, that was kind of unheard of, as sad as that is. It's a landmark film with amazing performances by the whole cast. Stanley Kramer, great director. This was nominated for like a dozen awards, only ended up winning 2. And I think, again, that might have something to do with the content of it. But I think it's a really, really important movie that everyone should watch. Then we've got Kramer versus Kramer. Here's that front art, here's the back art, and then the original theatrical art on the inside. Now, of all the movies in this set, more people may know Sleepless in Seattle or Punch Drunk Love, but this might be like the premier title because it is a Best Picture winner. It won 5 Academy Awards, including that Best Picture, and again, for the time period, the topic of this film, divorce and that family dynamic, not something that was necessarily talked about very publicly. That was still kind of a private thing, and now, of course, for better or worse, divorce is everywhere and it's widely talked about, and people co-parent, and that's very normal stuff in society. But in 1979, not so much. So again, a very important movie, won Best Picture, Meryl Streep, Dustin Hoffman. I mean, hard to go wrong with that. Now on the flip side of the set, we got some of the more modern stuff, starting with Starman. This is a really good movie that I don't think anybody really associates with John Carpenter, right? You think John Carpenter, you think The Thing, you think Halloween, you think They Live, you think, his horror stuff. He's the master of horror. But this is kind of this science fiction romance, almost like a mature take on something like E.T. It's very different for Carpenter, but has his trademark, like, in his fingerprint all over it, but just such a different change of pace. But I think really good. I was super excited that this got a 4K release because I'm a huge John Carpenter fan, so I'm trying to be a completionist, get all of his movies, and I didn't have this one yet, so I'm very, very excited this was included in the set. I would say this is one of the deeper cuts from this set for sure, maybe the one that most people wouldn't know, but I'm glad it was included. I think more people should see it, and it deserves more attention. And I forgot to show you the packaging, so here you go. Here's a little look at the slipcover. Here's the back, and then opening it up, you got that original artwork. Now, Sleepless in Seattle. Here's a look, slipcover, quote on the back. Pop this open, original theatrical art, which we love. This movie, it's Tom Hanks, it's Meg Ryan. It's before my time. Came out in 93. I was born in 92, so, I didn't grow up in this movie. But I think anybody that's in that, like, age between, say, 40 to 60, this was, like, a massive, massive movie. This was a movie everybody knew. I've actually never seen it. It's just not my cup of tea, really. But I know that my wife would probably enjoy it. We're always looking for movies that we could watch together. I know it's been said it's a great movie. I don't know. I'm definitely going to watch this one with her. But this is probably the one in the set that the most people will know who's buying this, because when this came out, this was a massive movie. Like, I know all about this movie and I've never seen it just because it's just so prevalent all over the place in like pop culture, and it's so talked about, especially in the 90s growing up. Like, I don't know why or how I heard about this movie, but like, you knew Meg Ryan, Tom Hanks, like, you knew about this movie. And then finally, rounding things out, we got Punch Drunk Love. Here is the slipcover front. Here's the back, popping it open, that original artwork. I do love that they do that. You get some new artwork and you always get that original OG theatrical art on the inside. Now this has a Criterion Collection release, which is a great Blu-ray, but I'm very excited to see this upgraded here. I think it's probably Adam Sandler's best movie. You could put Uncut Gems up there as well, but this was really what put Adam Sandler, I think, on the map as a dramatic actor. Up to this point, he's doing Happy Gilmore and Mr. Deeds and stuff like that. And, Waterboy. Like, he's not known for the dramatic stuff, and he kills it in this movie. Paul Thomas Anderson directs the hell out of it. It's visually appealing. It's not going to be for everybody. Most of his movies aren't. But I think it's a really cool look at mental health and relationships and anxiety and social awkwardness and all that stuff. And it's got a great cast. Sandler, Philip Seymour Hoffman, Luis Guzman, Emily Watson. I mean, it's a great movie. And maybe other than Kramer versus Kramer, I think the one that most like hardcore film fans that aren't necessarily looking for mainstream, like Sleepless in Seattle, I think that's the one that maybe most people will be excited about. So my overall thoughts here, like, Is this going to be for everybody? No, there's some deep cuts here. Like, this is going to be for somebody who really wants to dive deeper into some of these films, especially Starman, His Girl Friday, which I didn't know about. You know, Kramer versus Kramer and Guess Who's Coming to Dinner. They aren't big blockbuster movies. They're Oscar movies. They're very well directed and well acted and technically great, but they're not big blockbusters. And, you know, neither is Sleepless in Seattle, although it became a blockbuster, or Punch Drunk Love. I mean, this set is much more, I would say this is like the film school in a box. Like, there's great films in here. Even Starman with John Carpenter, just to see what he did outside of the horror genre. It's not that big, bombastic, Social Network, Lawrence of Arabia, Taxi Driver, all these movies that everybody talks about, but it is a really cool set to dive deeper. And I think that, you know, it's not going to be for the mainstream audiences necessarily, but neither is the 4K format or physical media at this point. So this is really catered towards those people that love film and want to dive deep into that catalog of what Columbia has to offer. And of course, you know, I expect great things from all of the transfers. I've read some reviews, watched some reviews. So far, indications are that this all looks incredible on 4K, and 5 out of the 6 of the movies, only His Girl Friday does not have an Atmos track. So they all got upgraded with Dolby Atmos. They all got upgraded with these new restorations, and Sony is the best in the business when it comes to catalog titles, in my opinion. I don't know. Whatever they're doing, their workflow just makes sense, and they're pumping out incredible stuff like this. So I really like it. I recognize it's not for everybody, but if you've collected volume 1, 2, and 3, I think 4 is the natural next step in progression in this series, and I'd love to see what they do for 5 and 6 and 7. So if you do want to pick this up, there will be a link in the pinned comment. There'll be a link in the video description. If you buy through that link, that helps support my channel, so I do appreciate that. Thanks once again to Sony Pictures Home Entertainment and Columbia Pictures. Columbia is celebrating their 100th anniversary this year, so I actually expect a lot of really cool things to come out of that Sony catalog and that Columbia Pictures catalog, much like Warner Brothers did last year for their 100th anniversary. So I'm expecting a lot of really cool stuff for physical media, and I can't wait to see what they produce. So thank you for watching. Make sure you're subscribed here for all things movies, entertainment, physical media. You know you're going to find it here on the channel. I appreciate all the support, and of course follow me on social media. All those links are in the video description, as well as right here by scanning the QR code. So thank you for watching. Hope you have a great rest of your day. Stay safe, stay healthy out there, and I'll talk to you soon.